Good morning. My name is Paul Dalzell. I am the worship coordinator of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Charleston. Welcome all of you, our members, our friends, and if this is your first time here, we welcome you and thank you for joining us. Please join us in singing our welcome song. We sing it through twice, and if you feel comfortable doing so, greet those around you with a smile, a nod, or a hello. The words are in your order of service and on the screens.
Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you.
Please check your insert for goings-on here at UUC this coming week and in the near future. We do have a few announcements that we'd like to share at this time. Next weekend, Spiral Moon Grove is hosting a camp out starting Friday. Their Samhain ritual is on Saturday evening, and they will be blessing the animals as the worship service Sunday, all at Kanawha State Forest. Details are in the additional insert. It is there. Also, Witchy Weekend, Betwixt and Between, is coming soon. November 7th is the Witches' Ball from 5 to 10 p.m. November 8th is the Psychic Fair, which is noon to 6 p.m. Ceremonies, rituals, live music, artisans, and merchants. There will be kids' activities, a costume contest, and more. And Kaleidoscope Collective is hosting a Friendsgiving potluck on November 14th at 7 p.m. They will be showing the movie Wicked. Bring a dish to share if you choose. It's not required. All are welcome. As Maria lights our chalice, please join me in reading the words in your order of service. They are drawn together by Jennifer Grayson. We come together every week, bound not by a creed or a mutual desire to please one God or many gods, yet we are drawn together by a belief that how we are in the world, who we are together, matters. We light this chalice together in the knowledge that love, not fear, can change the world. We come to this sanctuary, whether in person or virtually, to connect with our community, sharing our joys, our celebrations, our sorrows, our concerns, our peace, and our needs helps our community become closer and stronger. And that is the community we all need in these times. We have joys, 7 million anti-Tifa. I saw a t-shirt yesterday, I'm Aunt Tifa. Marched yesterday across the nation. I think probably more than. They usually estimate low. Grateful for the fellowship of this congregation. And another one, great turnout at the No Kings rally yesterday at the West Virginia Capitol and nationally. Plus, at least 15 UU members and friends were there. Several marched from the Federal Building, among 250 other people. I'm going to climb on a soapbox for a minute here. Yesterday, I attended the fall retreat for the CLM, commissioned lay minister program, which I'm a part of. Last year, we had one big retreat in upstate New York. I had just been accepted into the program about a week before. This year, the organizers decided to have several smaller events throughout the district. 8 of us attended the retreat in Kent, Ohio. We learned about governance theory in UU congregations and how we as CLMs can help facilitate it to make it smoother. I left home in the dark at 5:30 a.m. and got home in the dark around 9 p.m. Being a UU event, they scheduled 2 hours to attend the No Kings rally in Kent. One of the candidates had to leave, 2 others opted not to march and rally, and 5 of us walked over. There were 2 clergy in collars, 2 full CLMs, and myself as a candidate for the program. I estimate about 1,000 people lined the streets of Kent. I saw veterans in their 90s, lots of college students, older folk, kids being pulled in wagons by their parents, and lots of just average Americans. There were so many amazingly clever handmade signs. The vibe I felt in the crowd was of a coming together in unity. Smiles abounded. If not joy, then togetherness. We knew we were with our people. I didn't see any counter-protesters. I will say, when we headed back to the church, my overall feeling was heart-warmed. I absolutely felt better about our country after that event than I did before it. The authoritarian Christo-nationalistic America this regime wants is being opposed. That is not who we are. The people are standing up and speaking out. This is what democracy looks like. We do have the power. And even after a 16-hour-long day, I feel more energized than tired. We do have concerns. Worry for the lost team searching the river, I assume a bridge day. Oh, really? Okay. I didn't hear about it. I was out of town. And concern, the wind blew the tops off my beautiful mums. For all these joys and sorrows, both spoken and unspoken, may we remember shared joy is multiplied and shared sadness is diminished. Please join me in reading our unison covenant to each other by James Villa Blake. Love is the spirit of our faith and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
The reading is to help you center yourself in your body, mind, and spirit. And it's by Sheldon W. Bennett. O deep mystery of our lives, voice in our hearts and light in our minds, in the joyful freedom of our fellowship, we are here together as adventurers called forth in spirit, men and women moving, yearning, questing, pushing the limits of our lives outwards to what is more loving and just, more beautiful and true. here in this meeting house, this place made holy by the memories, the aspirations, the purposes, and ideals of those before us. We would be inspired by their example. These were men and women of vision. These were people of spirit. We here today are also people of spirit. We too are struck in awe before the great mystery of the cosmos. We too are powerfully moved by a deep concern for our world and our care for one another. The Spirit moves also in us as a free religious community joined in a common covenant of aspiration, commitment, and hope. May ours be a faith that is more than just beautiful words and high ideals. May ours be a faith of vitality and commitment, a faith that burns in our hearts and blazes in our minds. May ours be a faith that shines to the world as the light of deeds and the witness of actions. O source and spirit of our lives, may we respond boldly to your call to adventure for justice, for love, and for joy. May it be so.
Thank you, Ruth. This summer, Marion Keyes, as a member of the Worship Planning Committee, suggested we do a service on covenants. I suggested she take part in it, and she came up with the title for this service. Then that planned service morphed into the service on covenant groups from a couple weeks ago, which is good. Small group ministries are a vital part of our faith. But we decided that combining the history and tradition of covenants in the UUA would not fit into that service, that needed to be a service of its own, as did this one. My dear friend Marion bowed out of this one, so here I go. As I've said often enough to be annoying, and from the UUA's leader resource number 1, History of Covenant, we do not believe in a creed. The free church tradition of which we are a part does not offer up a creed, a certain set of beliefs that everyone must accept in order to belong to this community. Instead, the boundaries of our community are determined by commitment and participation. Our central question is not, what do you believe, but rather, what values will we uphold and how will we do this together? Our covenant, the promises we make to each other in regarding of how we will be a community of faith, is at the heart of what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist. As Reverend Margaret A. Beckman said, covenant is the silk that joins Unitarian Universalist congregations communities, and individuals together in a web of interconnection. The practice of promising to walk together is the precious core of our creedless faith. The notion of a covenant is an ancient one. It is a central theme of both the Hebrew and Christian scriptures. When the Unitarians' ancestor faith, the Puritans, came to America looking to form a new kind of church, they decided on, rather than a hierarchical form, they would use a covenantal form. This was in part a rejection of the Church of England, but also because survival required mutual cooperation. The Cambridge Platform of Church Discipline, written by New England Puritans in 1648 in Cambridge, Massachusetts, came about because of this. It states, in short, we pledge together to walk together in the ways of truth and affection as best we know them now, or may learn them in the days to come, that we and our children may be fulfilled, and that we may speak to the world in words of action and actions of peace and goodwill. The American Unitarian Association was formed in Boston in 1825. Around 1880, the Reverend Charles Gordon Ames, minister of the Spring Garden Unitarian Society in Philadelphia, wrote a covenant for his congregation. It states, in the love of truth and in the spirit of Jesus, we unite for the worship of God and the service of all. And in 1894, Reverend James Vila Blake wrote the one we read a moment ago. We know it as our covenant to each other or our unison affirmation. Many of us feel this sums up who we are clearly and concisely. Love is the spirit of our faith and service its law. This is our great covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. A survey taken of 459 Unitarian churches at the turn of the 20th century showed that 90 churches used some variation of Ames's wording, while 111 others used locally devised wording. The Unitarians were different then than we are now. A more recent survey conducted by the UUA's Commission on Appraisal for their 2005 report, Engaging Our Theological Diversity, asked congregations if they regularly used words of covenant in worship. Responses from 370 congregations showed that 42 used the words of covenant as penned by L. Griswold Williams, or an adaptation of them. 41 reported using the covenant written by Blake, or an adaptation. 9 said they used a covenant that combines the words of Williams and Blake. And 4 reported using an adaptation of the Ames covenant. The L. Griswold Williams covenant is, love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. So, again, there's been some changes. In 1961, when the American Unitarian Association, which was established in 1825, and the Universalist Church of America which was established in 1793, joined together to form the Unitarian Universalist Association. They agreed not on a covenant, but on a set of principles. They stated, in accordance with these corporate purposes, the members of the Unitarian Universalist Association, dedicated to the principles of a free faith, unite in seeking, 1, to strengthen one another in a free and disciplined search for truth as the foundation of our religious fellowship, to cherish and spread the universal truths taught by the great prophets and teachers of humanity in every age and tradition, immemorially summarized in the Judeo-Christian heritage as love to God and love to man. 3, to affirm, defend, and promote the supreme worth of every human personality, the dignity of man, and the use of the democratic method in human relationships. 4, to implement our vision of one world by striving for a world community founded on ideals of brotherhood, justice, and peace. 5, to serve the needs of member congregations and fellowships, to organize new churches and fellowships, and to extend and strengthen liberal religion. And 6, to encourage cooperation with men of goodwill in every land. As you can see, there was some problematic language in these principles. From a UU World article titled How the UUA's Principles and Purposes Were Shaped and How They Shaped Unitarian Universalism by Warren R. Ross, much of the credit for starting on the long and meandering path that led to the adoption of the reformulated principles in 1985 must go to UU women. Over many years, women, though not women alone, had been growing unhappy with the blatantly sexist language of the original bylaws, including a reference to the dignity of man. The 1970s, years when U.S. women's movement were gathering momentum, saw repeated manhunts to find and remove the most offensive terminology. Excised, for instance, were references to the moderator and president, indeed to every officer and all ministers as he, though mentions of brotherhood and fellowship survived well into the 1980s. Granted, 2 other emerging understandings also help make the existing principles seem inadequate. First, that traditions other than Judeo-Christian are important to our heritage. Second, that our relation to the environment is one of our primary religious concerns. But the main impetus for change did come from the UU Women's Federation, the UUWF. In 1981, a non-sexist revision of the Principles and Purposes, drafted by various women's groups, was presented to the General Assembly. It caused great uneasiness, especially among UU Christians who saw it as tantamount to writing them out of the UUA. A group of ministers circulated a letter expressing concern about the lack of any reference to UU-ism's Christian roots. It added that the impending debate on whether or not to amend the principles so as to eliminate the word God has every prospect of being the kind of contest in which, regardless of who wins, our association will lose. We believe that it is time to recognize and empower that pluralism which we are. The ministers called for open dialogue and the appointment of a committee to study the situation. The final wording decided by that committee was said to suddenly fall into place as the committee's final sessions, where we literally rearranged almost everything we had done. At the 1985 GA, it came up for a second vote, as is required for bylaw changes, and passed with only one dissenting vote. These are the principles that you see around you. The inherent worth and dignity of every person, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, acceptance of one another, and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large, the goal of world community with peace, liberty, and justice for all, and respect for the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are a part. And in 2013, an eighth principle was devised and proposed. We, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse and multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions. About 200 UU congregations adopted the eighth principle over the next 10 years. In 2021, the UUA formed the Article 2 Study Commission. Over the next 2 years, the commission completed its report and submitted it to the UUA Board of Trustees at their meeting held on January 20th, 2023. The report included the Study Commission's initial recommended revisions to Article 2. In November, the Commission presented its final proposed revision to the UUA Board of Trustees, which incorporated these amendments. That revision was voted and passed on at the 2023 General Assembly. The revision is as follows. I hope this isn't too dry, y'all. The Unitarian Universalist Association will devote its resources to and use its organizational powers for religious, educational, and humanitarian purposes. Its primary purposes are to assist congregations in their vital ministries, to support and train leaders, both lay and professional, to foster lifelong faith formation and spiritual development, to heal historic injustices, to support and encourage the creation of new Unitarian Universalist communities, and to advance our UU values in the world. The UUA will actively engage its members in the transformation of the world through liberating love. That's in the bylaws. Section C-2.2, Values and Covenant. As Unitarian Universalists, we covenant, congregation to congregation, and through our association, to support and assist one another in our ministries. We draw from our heritage of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundation of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. Inseparable from one another, these shared values are justice. We work to be diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive. With each of these, there is a covenant. We covenant to dismantle racism and all forms of systematic oppression. We support the use of inclusive democratic processes to make decisions within our congregations, our association, and society at large. Equity. We declare that every person has the right to flourish with inherent dignity and worthiness. We covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities. Transformation. We adapt to the changing world. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritages, never complete and never perfect. Pluralism. We celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. We covenant to learn from one another in our free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect. Interdependence. We honor the interdependent web of all existence with reverence for the great web of life, and with humility, we acknowledge our place in it. We covenant to protect earth and all beings from exploitation. We will create and nurture sustainable relationships of care and respect, mutuality and justice. We will work to repair harm and damaged relationships. Generosity. We cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. We covenant to freely and compassionately share our faith, presence, and resources. Our generosity connects us to one another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality. We also believe in the freedom of belief. Congregational freedom and the individual's right of conscience are central to our Unitarian Universalist heritage. Congregations may establish statements of purpose, covenant, and bonds of union, so long as they do not require that members adhere to a particular creed. Now, these are all from Article 2, Section C, 2.2, Values and Covenant. The principles that you see around you were replaced with these shared values in Article 2, but member congregations may keep the principles also if they choose to. We have, by the way. In addition to the covenants listed in Article 2, here at UUC, we have also agreed to abide by our behavioral covenant, which states we will generate an atmosphere of kindness, respect, and trust. Listen with an open mind to the opinions, ideas, and concerns of others, and respond with thoughtfulness and sensitivity. Preserve dignity and privacy. Give and receive forgiveness. This covenant is in our bylaws. Now, again, as Reverend Margaret A. Beckman said, covenant is the silk that joins Unitarian Universalist congregations, communities, and individuals together in a web of interconnection. The practice of promising to walk together is the precious core of our creedless faith. There are those who feel that because we don't have a creed, we don't believe in anything. I have a Presbyterian minister friend who has said much of that to me. He called us the Church of No Beliefs. Well, I beg to differ. I believe in these 7 principles that you see around you. I believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every person. I believe in using justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. I believe in accepting one another and encouraging spiritual growth. I believe in a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. I believe in the right of conscience and the use of the democratic, not constitutional republic, process within our congregations and society at large. I believe in the goal of world community, and I try to have respect for the interdependent web that we are a part of. And as I keep talking about JETPIG, which are our new shared values, I hope to learn them as well as I know the principles. I can say the words now, but not the meanings, and certainly not the covenants that go with them. Someday I will. We exist because the Puritans fled a power structure led by a king and reinforced by a hierarchical religion. We exist because they saw the value of agreeing to promise, to covenant in mutual cooperation. After all, that was the only way to survive in the New World. We can learn from our religious ancestors. We can and must stand up for the democratic process. That's what over 7 million of us did yesterday. We stood up for the promise of a free nation, one not led by a king, not ruled by one religion, but by we the people. I saw that in a small town in Ohio yesterday, and about 2,000 of you and our fellow West Virginians did this here in our state capital. So what can we do? Again, from Article 2, we can draw from the heritage of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, and build on a foundation of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. That accountability will help us flourish in these times we are living in. After all, that's the only way to survive in this new world. Thank you. Closing words today are the poem Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost that inspired the title of this sermon. Whose woods there are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near. Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there was some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. And miles to go before I sleep. Those 3 lines did run through my head often as I drove home last night, I will say. Miles to go.